My sister-in-law said my dead daughter deserved it. So I left and never came back. Look, I need to get something off my chest, and I honestly don't know if I'm in the right here or if I've completely destroyed what was left of my family. For months ago, my brother's pregnant wife made a comment about my dead daughter that I can't unhear. I packed up my kids and left without saying a word. Haven't spoken to most of my family since. Yesterday, her son found a way to contact us through a school counselor, begging to see us again, and now I'm second-guessing everything. Let me back up. My wife and I have been married for 5 years. We're both Christian, so we waited until after the wedding to start trying for kids. The plan was always a big family. We got pregnant 3 months after the wedding and had our first son. A year later, our daughter arrived. Then another son a year after that. 2 years later, we had our second daughter. That last pregnancy was different, though. My wife complained constantly about back pain, soreness that wouldn't quit. During delivery, the doctors found a tumor in her uterus. They had to do emergency surgery right there. She survived, thank God, but they told us we couldn't have any more kids. The physical recovery was fine, but mentally she crashed hard. Postpartum depression hit her like a freight train because she felt like she was letting me down, like she'd robbed me of the big family I wanted. I kept telling her it was fine. That 4 kids was more than enough. That I loved her and our family exactly as it was. But the depression didn't lift. She was supposed to take 3 months of maternity leave, but ended up staying home for 7. During that time, I reached out to my brother Derek for help. We'd always been close. He's 4 years older, always been this solid, reliable guy. The kind of brother who shows up when you need him. His wife Melissa, though, that's a different story. She's never really liked me or my wife, and she's never bothered hiding it. She's constantly comparing her kids to ours, always has something to say. When our oldest became a national chess master at 9 years old, she went on this rant about how unhealthy it was, how he should be outside playing like a normal kid instead of hunched over some geeky board. We'd already talked to our son about it. He loves chess. It makes him happy. That's all that matters to us. She made comments about our daughters too. Little digs about their clothes, their interests, the way we parented them. Derek always brushed it off as pregnancy hormones or stress. My wife and I tried not to let it get to us. Family, right? You put up with stuff for family. Derek helped us a lot during those hard months. He'd come over, fix things around the house, give my wife someone to talk to when I was at work. I'll always be grateful for that. But I need to be honest about something. My wife, who is genuinely the most incredible mother you'll ever meet, got a little scattered during that time. Not with our first kid, but after that second pregnancy, after finding out she couldn't have more children, she was emotionally somewhere else. She'd forget the stove was on. I'd come home from work and turn it off before something happened. She'd lose track of time at the park. Little things that worried me, but that I never brought up because she was already drowning. I thought if I just supported her, if I just covered the gaps, she'd get through it. Then it happened. The thing that split my life into before and after. My wife took the kids to the park one afternoon while I was at work. Our 4-year-old daughter got hit by a car. 6 hours of emergency surgery. She didn't make it. My wife doesn't remember exactly what happened, and honestly, I can't bring myself to discuss it in detail. It was the worst day of my life. The absolute worst. We've been dealing with it for 4 months now. Grief counseling, therapy, try to hold it together for our other kids. We cry in the bathroom so they don't see us fall apart. We put on brave faces at breakfast and collapse into bed at night feeling like we're drowning. About a month after we lost our daughter, Melissa invited the whole family to a pool party at their place. My wife and I debated whether to go. Part of us wanted to hide forever, but our kids needed to see their cousins, needed some normalcy. The family had been supportive, mostly cards, flowers, casseroles. The usual stuff people do when they don't know what to say but want to help. Everyone except Melissa. According to Derek, her emotions were just out of whack because of the pregnancy. We decided to go. Figured it might be good for us. The party started fine. The kids were having a blast in Derek's massive pool. Extended family showed up, offered condolences, hugged us, told us they were there if we needed anything. It felt almost normal, almost okay. Then the kids started playing pranks. You know how kids get when they're all together, wound up and showing off. They pushed me into the pool while I was standing near the edge. I laughed it off, but then they took it too far. They scratched on my wife's brand new Tesla. Deep scratches down the driver's side door. We're talking thousands of dollars in damage. My wife and I calmly gathered all the kids together, including our nephews, and explained why that kind of prank wasn't acceptable. We weren't yelling. We weren't being harsh. Just explaining that property damage isn't funny, that actions have consequences. That's when Melissa stepped in. She came over and started shouting at us. Told us we had no right to discipline her children. That was probably all our kids' fault anyway. My wife pushed back, said the kids had admitted to doing it, that we were just explaining why it was wrong. Things escalated. Voices got louder. Other family members started drifting over to see what the commotion was about. And that's when Melissa dropped the bomb. Maybe this is why your daughter is dead. The pool filter hummed. Someone's drink clinked against the table. The world kept moving while mine stopped completely. My wife started crying and left. Just turned and walked away. I stayed, rooted to the spot, waiting for someone, anyone, to say something. To tell Melissa she'd crossed the line. To defend us. Derek stepped between us instead. His face was red as he grabbed my shoulders. Axel, calm down. She didn't mean it like that. I stared at him. My brother. The person I trusted most in the world outside my wife. You know how pregnancy hormones are? He continued, his grip tightening when I tried to push past him. Melissa's been having a really tough time. Pregnancy hormones. My 4-year-old daughter was dead, and he was talking about pregnancy hormones. She just said that about Emma. I managed to say. My voice cracked. About my daughter. Look, I know it came out wrong, Derek said, still blocking me. But you're both emotional right now. Let's just take a breath and… Both emotional? I shoved his hand away. My daughter is dead, Derek. And your wife just… Stop being so dramatic, Melissa interrupted, stepping around Derek with her hands on her swollen belly. I'm sorry if you took it the wrong way, but you were yelling at my kids. What was I supposed to do? I pointed at the deep scratches on our car. They damaged our car. We were explaining why that's not okay. Oh, please, it's just a car, she rolled her eyes. You can afford to fix it, unlike some of us who actually have to budget for our growing families. My mother appeared then, her voice soft and placating. Axel, honey, maybe we should all just cool off. This heat is getting to everyone. The heat. My daughter's death was being used as ammunition, and my mother was blaming the weather. She just used my daughter's death as a weapon, I said slowly, looking around at my family. My cousins wouldn't meet my eyes. My aunt studied her sandals. Uncle Jim suddenly found the pool tiles fascinating. And you're blaming the heat? Nobody's blaming anything, Mom said quickly. But Melissa is 7 months pregnant. You remember how emotional pregnancy can be. Sarah never said anything cruel about someone's dead child. I shot back. Because Sarah never had anyone discipline her perfect little angels. Melissa snapped. Maybe if you two weren't so busy trying to be parents of the year, you'd have noticed. Melissa, Derek warned, but she kept going. What? I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. They act like their kids are so special. Chess champion this, honor roll that. Well, look where all that helicopter parenting got them. I lunged forward. My cousin Jake, Uncle Jim, and my younger brother Tom caught me, formed a human barrier. Not worth it, man, Jake muttered in my ear. Think of Sarah. Sarah. I spun around, looking for my wife. The sliding glass door to the house stood open, curtains still swaying. She'd heard everything. She'd heard Melissa double down on the cruelty, and she'd heard our family make excuses for it. I need to check on my wife, I said, shaking free. Axel, wait, Derek called after me. We can work this out. It's family. I stopped at the door and looked back at him. Family doesn't do this, Derek. I found Sarah in the bathroom, sitting on the closed toilet with her face in her hands. Silent sobs shook her shoulders. I knelt in front of her and gently pulled her hand away. Hey, I whispered. I'm here. She said it was our fault. Sarah's voice was barely audible. That Emma died because of us. She's wrong. You know she's wrong. But what if? No. I cupped her face. No what ifs. What happened to Emma was an accident. A terrible, horrible accident. Not your fault. Never your fault. A knock interrupted us. Sarah? Axel. It was Kate, Derek's younger sister. Can I come in? Sarah nodded, and I opened the door. Kate slipped inside, closing it behind her. I'm so sorry, Kate said immediately. What Melissa said was unforgivable. Then why is everyone out there forgiving it? I asked. Kate sighed. Because they're cowards. Because it's easier to pressure you two to let it go than to confront her. She's pregnant, Sarah said flatly. Apparently that excuses everything. It doesn't, Kate said firmly. And this isn't the first time. Sarah and I both looked up at her. Kate bit her lip, considering something. Remember Cousin Marie? The one who had the stillbirth. Kate asked. At Christmas that year, Melissa made a comment about how maybe it was nature's way because Marie was over 40. My stomach turned. I didn't know that. Because Marie never came to another family event. Kate's voice was bitter. She cut contact with everyone who was there and didn't defend her, which was basically everyone. Why didn't anyone tell us? Sarah asked. Because Derek always makes excuses. Because mom thinks keeping the family together is more important than anything else. Because everyone would rather enable a bully than risk drama at Sunday dinners. Another knock. Axel? Sarah? My mother again. Everyone's worried. Can we talk? I looked at Sarah. Her face had hardened into something I'd never seen before. She stood, wiping her eyes. Yes, she said. Let's talk. We emerged to find most of the family crowded in Derek's living room. Melissa sat in the center of the couch with Derek's arm around her, playing the wounded pregnant woman perfectly. The kids had been sent somewhere else. Sarah, sweetheart, my mother started. We all understand you're going through a difficult time. Stop. Sarah held up her hand. Just stop. You all understand? Really? Which one of you has buried a child? Silence. Which one of you has had to pick out a casket small enough for a 4-year-old? Which one of you has had to explain to her siblings why their sister isn't coming home? Sarah, Aunt Linda tried. You're not saying anything, Sarah's voice rose. None of you said anything when she weaponized my baby's death. You stood there. You let it happen. And now you want me to be the bigger person? To let it go for the sake of family unity. Sometimes we have to forgive, Uncle Jim said. For family. Sarah laughed, but it was sharp and broken. Family doesn't stand by while someone uses your dead child as ammunition in an argument about scratch paint. Family doesn't make excuses for cruelty. Family doesn't choose comfort over compassion. You're being overdramatic, Melissa muttered from the couch. Sarah turned to her slowly. Say that again. I said you're being overdramatic. I'm sorry if what I said hurt your feelings. But, Sarah stepped closer. If it hurt my feelings? You told me my daughter died because of my parenting. You used the worst pain I've ever experienced as a weapon because you were mad about your kids being disciplined. I'm pregnant, Melissa said, as if that explained everything. I've been pregnant 4 times, Sarah shot back. Never once did hormones make me cruel. Never once did carrying a life inside me make me callous about another life lost. Everyone handles pregnancy differently, Derek interjected. Stop, I said. Stop making excuses. Stop enabling her. Stop choosing her comfort over our pain. I'm not choosing anyone, Derek protested. I'm just saying we can all move past this. We're family. No, Sarah said quietly. We're not. Not anymore. The room erupted. Everyone talking at once. Tried to convince us we were overreacting, being too sensitive, breaking up the family. Through it all, Melissa sat on that couch with a small, satisfied smirk. Enough. Sarah's shout silenced everyone. You want to know what breaks up a family? Standing by while someone attacks grieving parents. Making excuses for cruelty. Choosing to enable a bully rather than protect the vulnerable. She turned to face everyone. For months ago, I lost my daughter. Every day since, I've woken up to a world missing her laugh, her smile, her little hands in mine. And I've survived it because I thought I had family who understood that pain, who would protect that sacred grief from being weaponized. Her voice broke. But you've shown me today that keeping Melissa comfortable is more important than keeping Emma's memory respected. That avoiding conflict matters more than standing up for what's right. Sarah, please, my mother tried again. Think of the cousins. The kids shouldn't suffer because the adults can't get along. The kids. Sarah's eyes flashed. You're worried about the kids? Where was that concern when Melissa said what she said in front of children who might have been listening? What message does it send when they see cruelty excused? No one answered. Sarah walked to where our children were gathered by the door, having crept back to see what the shouting was about. She knelt to their level. Get your things, she said gently. We're going home. But Mom, our oldest protested. We were having fun. I know, baby. But sometimes we have to leave situations that aren't healthy, even when it's hard. As we gathered our belongings, the family continued their chorus of protests. Derek followed us to the door. Axel, come on. Don't do this. She didn't mean it. I turned to face my brother. That's the problem, Derek. I think she did mean it. And I think you know she meant it. But you'd rather we swallow our pain than confront your wife's cruelty. That's not fair. Fair. I laughed bitterly. Was it fair when she used our daughter's death against us? Was it fair when every single person in that room chose to protect her instead of us? We're not choosing sides. Yes, you are. You chose. And you chose her. We loaded the kids into the car. As I started the engine, my phone began buzzing with texts. Sarah's too. Family members trying to guilt us into returning, into apologizing, into letting it go for the sake of family peace. Sarah turned off her phone and stared out the window. They'll never understand, will they? No, I said. They won't. I can't go back there, she whispered. I can't sit across from her at Christmas dinner and pretend she didn't say what she said. I can't watch everyone act normal while knowing they'd rather protect her than us. Then we won't, I said simply. We'll make our own holidays, our own traditions, with people who actually care about us. Sarah reached over and took my hand. I'm sorry. Your family. They're not my family, I interrupted. Not anymore. Family doesn't do what they did today. As we drove away, I saw Derek still standing in the doorway, Melissa beside him with her hand on her belly and that same satisfied expression. The rest of the family had probably already moved on, convincing themselves that we'd cooled down, that we'd come around, that family was more important than principles. They were wrong. That night, after the kids were asleep, Sarah and I sat on our back deck. The same deck where Emma used to play with her toy tea set, serving us imaginary cookies and telling us elaborate stories about her stuffed animals. I miss her so much, Sarah said. I know. Me too. And now we've lost them too. Your family. I pulled her close. We haven't lost anything worth keeping. Anyone who could stand by while you were attacked like that, anyone who could make excuses for that kind of cruelty, they're not family. They're just people we happen to share DNA with. Your mom will probably call tomorrow. Try to smooth things over. Probably. What will you say? I thought about it. That Melissa crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. That they had a choice between protecting grieving parents or enabling a bully. And they chose wrong. That we won't expose ourselves or our children to that kind of toxicity again. Sarah nodded against my chest. They'll say we're breaking up the family. The family broke itself when they chose comfort over compassion. We sat in silence for a while, listening to the night sounds. Somewhere in the distance, a child laughed, and we both tensed. Every child's laugh sounded like Emma's now. I keep thinking about what Kate said, Sarah murmured. About Marie. How she cut everyone off after they didn't defend her. Yeah, I used to think that was extreme. Now I understand. How can you sit across from people who watched you be attacked and did nothing? Who made excuses for your attacker? Who tried to make you the villain for not accepting the attack? You can't, I said simply. My phone buzzed again. Another text, this time from my mother. Please don't let this destroy our family. Think of what Emma would want. I showed it to Sarah. Her face hardened. She did not just invoke Emma to manipulate us into forgiving this. She did. Sarah grabbed my phone and typed back. Emma would want her memory respected. Emma would want her parents protected. Emma would want people to stand up to bullies, not enable them. Don't you dare use my daughter's name to guilt us into accepting abuse. She hit send before I could stop her. Not that I would have. I'm done, she said. Done trying to keep the peace. Done swallowing my pain so others can be comfortable. Done pretending that family means accepting any treatment because of shared blood. Good, I said. Because I am too. The next morning arrived with a barrage of phone calls. I turned my phone to silent, but the screen lit up constantly. Dad, Aunt Linda, Uncle Jim, even cousins who hadn't been at the party were suddenly involved, having heard some version of events that undoubtedly painted us as the unreasonable ones. Sarah sat at the kitchen table, stirring her coffee absently while our kids ate breakfast. Our oldest son kept glancing between us, clearly sensing something was wrong. Are we going to see Uncle Derek today? He asked innocently. Sarah's hand stilled. I set down my own mug carefully. Not today, buddy, I said. We're going to have a family day. Just us. But we were supposed to practice chess with Cousin Tyler this weekend. The knife of that simple statement twisted. Tyler was Derek's oldest, and he'd been learning chess from our son. They formed a genuine bond over the game. Two kids who didn't care about adult complications. We'll figure something else out, Sarah said softly. Sometimes plans change. Our daughter, the younger one, looked up from her cereal. Is it because of what happened at the pool? When everyone was yelling. Kids noticed everything. We tried to shield them, but they'd heard enough. Sometimes adults disagree about important things. I explained carefully. And sometimes we need space from each other to figure things out. Like when me and Jamie fight and Mom makes us go to different rooms? She asked. Something like that, sweetheart. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Derek. Axel, we need to talk man to man. Without the wives. I can come by this afternoon. I showed Sarah. She read it and shook her head. Without the wives. Because clearly I'm the problem here. You're not the problem. You've never been the problem. I know that. But they don't. I typed back. There's nothing to discuss. Your wife crossed a line. You defended her. That tells me everything I need to know. His response was immediate. You're being stubborn. She's pregnant and emotional. You can't throw away family over one comment made in anger. One comment. As if those words hadn't been carefully chosen weapons. As if the cruelty hadn't been deliberate. Block him, Sarah said quietly. Please. I can't watch you have these conversations. It hurts too much. I blocked Derek's number. Then one by one, I blocked the others who'd stood by and watched. Mom was the hardest. Her name sat there on my screen. Decades of memories attached to those 3 letters. But she'd made her choice yesterday. She'd chosen the easy path over the right one. The kids finished breakfast and scattered to their usual Saturday morning activities. Our son to his chess computer, our younger daughter to her art supplies, our middle child to his books. The house felt oddly quiet without the usual prospect of family gatherings, cousin playdates, Sunday dinners. What do we tell people? Sarah asked. Our friends, the kids' teachers, when they ask why the cousins don't pick them up anymore. The truth, that we've decided to distance ourselves from family members who don't respect us. They'll think we're overreacting, that we're those people who cut off family over petty drama. Let them think that. We know the truth. Using our dead daughter as a weapon isn't petty. Standing by while it happens isn't drama. It's betrayal. Sarah's phone rang. Her mother this time. She'd been at the party, but had left early before the confrontation. Sarah stared at the screen, then answered. Hi, Mom. I could hear her mother's voice, concerned but measured. Sarah's face cycled through emotions as she listened. Yes, I heard what happened. A pause. No, Mom. She said our daughter died because of how we parent. I don't care if she's pregnant. Another pause. Mom, stop. Sarah's voice hardened. If you're calling to tell me to forgive and forget, you can save your breath. What Melissa said was unforgivable. And the fact that Axel's family defended her tells me everything I need to know about their values. A longer pause. Her mother's voice rose slightly. Then they're wrong, Sarah said flatly. I'm not ruining the family. The family ruined itself when they chose to protect an abuser instead of the abused. Yes, I said abuser. Using someone's dead child against them is abuse, Mom. Another pause. I have to go, Sarah said. I love you, but I won't discuss this anymore. Either you support us or you don't. But I won't be convinced that we're wrong for protecting ourselves. She hung up and set the phone aside with shaking hands. She thinks we should reconcile. For the children's sake. Everyone's very concerned about the children when it suits them, I said bitterly. Where was that concern for our children when Melissa attacked their dead sister's memory? The weekend passed in a strange bubble. No family texts about Sunday dinner plans. No cousins dropping by. No Derek showing up with his toolbox to help with house projects. The absence felt both liberating and suffocating. Monday brought new challenges. I walked into work to find several colleagues giving me strange looks. Word traveled fast in our interconnected world. Derek and I worked in the same industry, though different companies. We had mutual professional contacts. My coworker Benjamin approached me at lunch. Hey man, heard there was some family drama this weekend. You okay? I tensed. What did you hear? Just that there was some big blow up at Derek's place. That you and Sarah stormed out and are refusing to talk to anyone. The narrative was already being shaped. We were the unreasonable ones who stormed out, not the grieving parents who were attacked. There was an incident, I said carefully. Someone said something cruel about our daughter who passed away. We decided it was best to leave. Benjamin's face shifted. Oh man, I'm sorry. I didn't know what it was about. I just heard you guys were being dramatic about some pregnancy hormones thing. Is that what Derek's telling people? He looked uncomfortable. I mean, I heard it third hand. You know how these things get twisted. But I did know. Derek was already controlling the narrative, minimizing what happened, making us the villains in a story where we were the victims. That evening, Sarah met me at the door with red eyes. The school called. Melissa showed up at pickup time for her kids and tried to take ours too. Said there must have been a miscommunication about carpooling. My blood ran cold. What did the school do? Followed protocol. She wasn't on the pickup list, so they didn't release them. But she made a scene, told the office staff that we were having family troubles and keeping the kids from their cousins out of spite. This is escalation, I said. She's trying to force contact through the kids. The principal wants to meet with us tomorrow to clarify the situation. We spent that evening drafting emails, documenting everything. The principal, Mrs. Catherine, was understanding when we explained the situation in broad strokes. We didn't detail Melissa's exact words. That pain was too private to share with strangers, but we made it clear that certain family members were no longer authorized for pickup. I understand family dynamics can be complicated, Mrs. Catherine said carefully. We'll make sure staff are aware of the updated list. Tuesday night, the doorbell rang at 9. Through the peephole, I saw my mother standing on our porch holding a casserole dish. The universal peace offering. Sarah looked at me. Your choice. I opened the door, but didn't invite her in. Axel, Mom started, her voice already thick with emotion. This has gone on long enough. I brought your favorite. Mom, stop. A casserole doesn't fix this. I'm not trying to fix it with food. I'm trying to get my son to talk to me. We talked on Saturday. You made your position clear when you defended Melissa. I wasn't defending her. I was trying to keep the peace by sacrificing us. The words came out harder than intended. You were keeping the peace by telling us to accept someone using Emma's death against us. Mom's face crumpled. That's not. I would never. But you did. You stood there while Melissa said our daughter died because of our parenting. And your response was to remind us she's pregnant. As if that excuse is cruelty. She didn't mean. Stop saying that. The words exploded out. Stop telling us what she meant. We heard what she said. We felt the intention behind it. And you're still here, days later, trying to convince us we misunderstood. Mom clutched the casserole dish tighter. I just want my family back together. Your family was never together, Mom. It was held together by people like Sarah and me swallowing our hurt and keeping quiet. By people like Cousin Marie disappearing rather than making waves. By victims staying silent so abusers could stay comfortable. Melissa isn't an abuser. She used our dead child as a weapon. What would you call that? Silence stretched between us. Down the street, a dog barked. Normal neighborhood, sounds that felt surreal against this moment. I should have spoken up, Mom said finally, quietly. When she said it, I should have told her it was wrong. Yes, you should have. But I can't change that now. All I can do is try to fix this going forward. There's nothing to fix, Mom. The damage is done. Trust is broken. And honestly, I don't think it was ever really there. This just revealed what was always true. That keeping up appearances matters more than protecting the vulnerable. She started crying then. Real tears, not the manipulative kind. I don't want to lose you. Either of you. Oh, my grandchildren. You're not losing us. You're experiencing the consequences of your choices. There's a difference. What does that mean? It means we'll still exist. We'll still be your son and daughter-in-law. But we won't pretend that Saturday didn't happen. We won't sit at family dinners with Melissa. We won't expose our children to people who think their sister's death is fair game for cruel comments. So what? You'll just never come to family events again? Never let the cousins play together? The cousins can play together when their mother isn't around. Derek can bring them here or meet us at neutral locations. But Melissa is not welcome in our lives. Neither is anyone who continues to make excuses for her. Mom wiped her eyes. And if I can't accept that, then you're choosing her over us. Again, she left the casserole on the porch. I brought it inside after she drove away, and Sarah and I stood in the kitchen looking at it like it might explode. Your mom makes good casserole, Sarah said finally. She does. Doesn't make her right, though. No, it doesn't. We threw it away, keeping it felt like accepting a bribe. The weeks that followed were a blur of adjusting to a new normal. Kate became our lifeline, calling regularly just to check in. She'd had her own confrontation with Derek and Mom, telling them exactly what she thought of their enabling behavior. It hadn't gone well, but she didn't regret it. Someone needed to say it, she told us. I'm just sorry I didn't say it sooner. Our kids adapted better than I expected. Without the constant subtle criticisms from Melissa, without the tension of family gatherings, they seemed to relax. Our oldest son started teaching chess at the community center. Our middle child joined a book club. Our youngest thrived in art classes. I think Emma would like this, our daughter said one evening, working on a painting. She always said Aunt Melissa was mean. Maybe she's happy we don't have to see her anymore. Out of the mouths of babes. Thanksgiving came and went. We hosted our own gathering with Kate, Marie, who we'd reconnected with after Kate gave her our number, and some friends who'd become family. Mom came too, having chosen to skip Derek's gathering in solidarity with us. It wasn't the big family affair we'd always had, but it was warmer, more genuine. No walking on eggshells, no waiting for the next cutting remark. This is nice, Mom said at one point, looking around the table. Different, but nice. Different can be good, our son said. Like in chess, sometimes you have to sacrifice a piece to win the game. Christmas was harder. The first holiday season without Emma felt impossible. But we got through it together, just our little family and the people who'd proven they actually cared about us. In January, Derek reached out through a mutual friend. He and Melissa were having problems. She'd had the baby, but things weren't going well between them. He wanted to talk. Sarah and I discussed it and decided against it. Too much had happened. Too much trust had been broken. Then, 4 months after that pool party, we got a call from our son's school counselor. She had a letter for us. From Tyler. The letter was short, written in his careful 13-year-old handwriting. Dear Uncle Axel and Aunt Sarah, I know what my mom said about Emma. I heard Dad talking about it on the phone. I'm really sorry. I miss you guys and I miss my cousins. I know I can't see you because of what she did, but I wanted you to know that I remember Emma and I think about her a lot. She was really nice to me. I hope when I'm older, maybe we can be friends again. Love, Tyler. Sarah cried reading it. I did too. What do we do? She asked. We write back, I said. We tell him it's not his fault, that we miss him too, that someday, when he's old enough to make his own choices, we'd love to see him. We drafted a letter carefully, running it by the school counselor first to make sure it was appropriate. We told Tyler that we loved him, that none of this was his fault, that Emma had loved him too, that we understood he was in a difficult position and we didn't want to make it harder, but that our door would always be open to him when he was ready. The counselor delivered it for us, keeping everything above board and documented. 2 days later, Derek showed up at our house. No warning, just appeared on our doorstep, looking haggard and furious. You contacted my son behind my back, he said the moment I opened the door. Tyler contacted us, I corrected, through his school counselor. We responded through the same channel. Everything was appropriate and supervised. You're trying to turn him against us. We told him we love him and that none of this is his fault. If that turns him against you, maybe you should think about why. Derek's face contorted with emotion. Anger, pain, guilt, all of it swirling together. This is destroying my family, Axel. Your wife destroyed our family when she used Emma against us. You destroyed it when you defended her. She's my wife. What was I supposed to do? Be my brother, I said simply. Choose right over easy. Protect the people who were hurt instead of the person who hurt them. I can't, he said, and for a moment he looked broken. I can't choose between you and her. You already did, Derek. At the pool party. Every day since. You chose. He left without another word. As I closed the door, Sarah came up behind me and wrapped her arms around my waist. Do you think he'll ever understand? She asked. No, I said, but I hope Tyler does. Someday. March brought unexpected news through Kate. Derek and Melissa had separated. The details were messy. Apparently, Melissa's cruelty wasn't limited to extended family. She'd been making Derek's life miserable too, and the birth of their daughter had somehow made everything worse instead of better. Tyler's living with Derek, Kate told us. Melissa moved back in with her mother. Part of me felt vindicated. Part of me just felt sad. Not for Melissa. She'd made her bed, but for Derek, for Tyler, for the baby girl who'd be growing up in a broken home. Does this change anything? Sarah asked after Kate's call. I don't know, I admitted. Derek still hasn't apologized. He still hasn't acknowledged that what happened was wrong. Then it doesn't change anything, she said firmly. She was right. An apology extracted by consequences wasn't really an apology. Real change had to come from understanding, not from losing something. April brought Tyler's 14th birthday. We sent him a card and a chess book we knew he'd been wanting. Nothing too personal, nothing that would cause drama. Just letting him know we remembered. He sent a thank you note back through the counselor. It was short but genuine. At the end, he wrote, "Only 4 more years until I'm 18. That line broke my heart and healed it at the same time. May marked 6 months since the pool party. 6 months of living without extended family. 6 months of grief compounded by betrayal. But also 6 months of healing, of building something new, of learning what family really meant. Our kids were thriving. Sarah was in a better place mentally. We'd found a rhythm that worked for us. And while there was still pain, there would always be pain when it came to Emma. We'd learned that protecting that pain from people who would weaponize it was an act of love. One evening, I found Sarah in Emma's room. We'd slowly been packing it up, donating her clothes to families who needed them, keeping special items that held memories. Sarah was sitting on the floor holding Emma's favorite stuffed rabbit. Do you think we did the right thing? She asked. Cutting them all off. I sat down beside her. I think we did the only thing. We protected our family. We protected Emma's memory. We taught our kids that love has boundaries and that some behaviors are unacceptable no matter who they come from. But Tyler will be okay, I said. He's smart. He sees the truth. And in 4 years, he can make his own choices about who he wants in his life. I just hate that the kids are suffering for adult problems. They were already suffering, Sarah. Every time Melissa made a cutting comment, every time the family made excuses for her cruelty, every time we sat through a gathering with 4 smiles while she belittled our children, they were suffering. At least now, they're learning that it's okay to walk away from people who hurt you. That family isn't an excuse for abuse. She leaned against my shoulder. When did you get so wise? Probably around the time my world fell apart, and I had to figure out how to put it back together. June brought a surprising phone call from Derek. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Axel. His voice was rough, like he'd been crying. I need to say something, and I need you to just listen. I didn't respond, but I didn't hang up either. I was wrong, he said. At the pool party, in the weeks after, in everything. I was wrong to defend what Melissa said. I was wrong to ask you to overlook it. I was wrong to prioritize my comfort over your pain. I stayed silent, waiting. Tyler's been in therapy, he continued. His therapist helped me understand that by making excuses for Melissa, I was teaching him that cruelty is acceptable if you have a good enough excuse. That I was showing him the opposite of what a man should be. Okay, I said carefully. I'm not asking you to forgive me, Derek said quickly. I don't deserve that. I'm not asking to be part of your lives again. I just needed you to know that I see it now. What she did, what I enabled, what the whole family allowed. I see it, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The apology I'd been waiting for. But hearing it didn't feel the way I thought it would. It didn't erase the pain or undo the damage. It was just words, important words, but still just words. Thank you for saying that, I finally responded. But you're right. I'm not ready to forgive. Maybe someday, but not now. I understand, Derek said. Can I ask one thing, though? What? Tyler. Well, he turns 18 when he reaches out, and he will reach out. Please don't hold my mistakes against him. Please let him back in. We already told him we would, I said. This was never about him. Thank you. His voice cracked. Take care of yourself, Axel. Take care of Sarah and the kids. You too, Derek. I hung up and sat with the conversation for a long moment before telling Sarah. How do you feel? She asked. Sad, I admitted. Not angry anymore. Just sad for what we lost and relieved that we're not in it anymore. Do you think you'll ever forgive him? Maybe. In time. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. He can be sorry, and we can still choose to keep our distance. Good, she said. Because I'm not ready to sit across from him at a dinner table anytime soon. Neither am I. Summer came. We took a trip to the beach, just our family. We laughed and played in the waves and built sandcastles. We took a moment of silence for Emma, letting the ocean carry our whispered messages to her. It was bittersweet and beautiful. Our oldest son placed second in a national chess tournament. Our middle child won a reading award at school. Our youngest had an art show where her painting of our family, including Emma as an angel watching over us, was chosen for display. We were healing. Slowly, imperfectly, but genuinely. In August, Mom asked if she could come over for dinner. Just her, she specified. She'd been slowly rebuilding trust, showing up consistently, never pressuring us about the rest of the family. She'd even sent Melissa a letter telling her that what she'd said was unacceptable and that she wouldn't be attending any family events Melissa was at. It had cost her. Derek barely spoke to her now. Half the family had taken sides, and she'd chosen ours. Not because we'd asked her to, but because it was right. Thank you, I told her over dessert that night. For choosing us. I should have chosen you from the beginning, she said. I failed you when you needed me most. I'm trying to do better. You're doing better, Sarah said. It means more than you know. September brought the start of a new school year. New routines, new activities, new possibilities. The kids made new friends. We joined a new community group. We built a life that didn't require us to brace ourselves for the next cruel comment or family drama. Sometimes I thought about Melissa and wondered if she'd ever understood what she'd done, if she'd ever felt genuine remorse. But mostly, I didn't think about her at all. She'd become irrelevant to our lives, which felt like its own kind of justice. October marked 1 year since we lost Emma. The anniversary was brutal, as we knew it would be. But we got through it together, surrounded by people who genuinely cared. Kate, Marie, Mom, our chosen family of friends. At Emma's grave, our oldest son spoke for all of us. We miss you every day. But we're okay. We're protecting your memory like you would have wanted. And we're only keeping people in our lives who would have loved you the way we do. November brought Thanksgiving again. Our second one without the extended family. Our gathering was smaller than traditional families might have, but it was filled with genuine warmth and laughter. As we went around the table saying what we were grateful for, our youngest daughter said, I'm grateful we don't have to be around mean people anymore. Everyone went quiet. Then Kate laughed, and soon we were all laughing, because out of the mouths of babes came the simplest truths. I'm grateful for this family, our middle child said, the one we chose. I'm grateful we learned that love means boundaries, our oldest added. When it came to Sarah, she looked around the table with tears in her eyes. I'm grateful for people who protect what's sacred, who understand that some wounds don't heal just because someone demands forgiveness, who know that family is about who shows up, not who shares your blood. I'm grateful, I said when it was my turn, for a wife who taught me that walking away from toxicity isn't giving up. It's choosing life. I'm grateful for kids who are learning what real love looks like. And I'm grateful for everyone at this table who understood that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is draw a line and refuse to cross it. Mom raised her glass. To Emma, who would have loved this family we're building. To boundaries. To chosen family. To doing hard things because they're right. We all clinked glasses, even the kids with their apple cider. Later that night, after everyone had gone home and the kids were in bed, Sarah and I stood on our back deck looking at the stars. Do you ever regret it? I asked, walking away from all of them. Every day, she admitted. And not at all. I understood exactly what she meant. I regret that it was necessary, she continued. I regret that they chose cruelty over compassion. I regret that our kids lost their cousins and that Tyler is caught in the middle. But I don't regret protecting us. I don't regret teaching our children that they deserve respect. I don't regret showing them that love without boundaries isn't really love at all. For more years, I said, then Tyler can make his own choice. Do you think he will? Choose us. I think he'll choose what's healthy, I said. And that's all we can ask for. December came with its holiday challenges. But we learned to make our own traditions. No more performances for people who didn't truly care. No more walking on eggshells. Just genuine connection with people who'd proven their worth. On Christmas morning, as we watched our kids open presents, I thought about the family we'd lost and the family we'd gained. About Melissa's cruelty and our choice to protect ourselves from it. About Derek's too late apology and Mom's hard-won redemption. About Tyler counting down the years until he could make his own choices. Most of all, I thought about Emma. About how teaching our surviving children to stand up to bullies, to walk away from toxicity, to value themselves enough to demand respect. That was honoring her memory better than any forced family gathering ever could. I love our little family, Sarah said, watching the kids play with their new things. Me too, I said. Me too. And I meant it. Because sometimes the worst thing that happens to you, losing people you thought you could count on, turns out to be the best thing. Because it shows you who you really are, what you're really made of. And it clears space for real love, real family, real connection. We lost a lot. Our daughter, our extended family, the life we planned. But we gained something too. Peace, dignity, self-respect, and the knowledge that we'd done the hard, right thing when it would have been easier to just keep swallowing the pain. That was enough. It had to be enough. And somehow, surrounded by the family we'd chosen and the family we'd made, it was more than enough. It was everything.
Alright, that's it for today. See you in the next one.